You know, I don't want to get too far off into the technical aspects, and I think that people are probably typing in questions. Danny, in a couple minutes, I'm going to ask you to pull out some of those key questions for us. So if you're watching, feel free to type those into the box below the screen. Kevin, any last thoughts about working with Bobby, or what you think people can gain from his transformation course?
Well, I think, you know, I was coached by Bobby for a year. He was my full-time head coach for triathlon, and the biggest takeaway that I had was, you know, there's never any point in doing the really hard training if you're not running correctly, if you're not doing the drills correctly, or if you're not like doing strides correctly. And that was one of the biggest things that he taught me, is how to do everything correctly. And then we would get into the hard work, like the 1K repeats, or the strides, or whatever it may be. So I mean, I think that this run transformation course, it's the building blocks for running correctly, improving your form, and then from there you can kind of take it into racing.
Mm-hmm. Great. So Kevin, you've got a Twitter account, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm on Twitter. It's just my name, Kevin Collington.
Okay, great. So everybody go to Twitter and follow Kevin Collington there, and you can keep up to date on his latest exploits and all sorts of other adventures. Kevin, congratulations on your performance this year in the 70.3 distance.
Thanks, Suzanne.
Gwen,
Kevin also did very well in the big money triathlon, the what's it called? High V triathlon. Kevin came through tremendously there in that race, and made me long for him to maybe come back and give this ITU thing another crack, because he ran so well there. And also, if you do follow Kevin on Twitter, he has this really offbeat sense of humor, and it's a lot of fun to follow what he has to say. He has a good angle and outlook on life.
Great. Gwen, and again, congratulations to you on your performance this year, and best of luck in the rest of the season. Do you have any comments about people working with Bobby and what they might hope to gain?
Yeah, I mean, besides some of the stuff that we've already touched on, just with the technique and things like that Bobby teaches, he's taught me a lot just about race execution and how, you know, the first half of my run really affects the second half of the run, and just other little aspects like that, along with the mental stuff like Kevin was talking about earlier. I mean, I think there's a wide range of areas that Bobby helps with.
Yeah, great. Couple more little details. I want to be certain that, Bobby, I don't skip the part about mental skills. It's a really, really key part of what you offer people. So far we've talked about a lot of technical stuff. Can you mention something about mental skills training for running and your magical running?
Yeah, you know, that was the first book I wrote. I've always been interested since I started coaching school kids way back in how the mind and how the internal dialogue impacts performance. And you know, in that short time that I've been coaching, has been so much incredible research verifying what top coaches have always suspected in terms of how to motivate athletes. But when it came to work with with Kevin and with Gwen on the mental skills, and Gwen is kind enough to let me help her quite a lot with the mental skills, it's incredible how very quickly it comes down to details. And so my message there is for people to really find out what those 2 or 3 mental limiters that they have are, and then to start working on those very formally and very specifically. So my cry is always for people to formalize their mental skills. And so with Gwen and I, we had a little thing going on in the swim about her being on top of the other swimmers when it turns into that crazy washing machine. And you know, I was talking to one of the top triathletes down in Colorado Springs while we were in Spain this year, and one of the athletes that we have in the sport is a wonderful athlete by the name of Sean Jefferson, and he's a 355 miler, you know, and a sub 29-minute 10K runner, and he's learning how to swim. And this particular athlete that I was working with, she ended up on top of Sean right at the side of the pool, and she looked up at me and she said, "Is this what you mean by on top?" And she was loving it. You know, it's just like all over the top of poor old Sean, who was almost drowning at that point. So yeah, the mental skills are absolutely huge. I think we forget when people are CEOs or they medical doctors or they very successful business people, and they go into triathlon, that they have experienced the same anxieties that that people that have been in the sport for a long time and the pros experience, and that they're not alone, and that their desire to perform is what's creating their anxiety. So while there are differences to the mental skills approach for age groupers, in fact, the research has shown quite effectively how back of the packers have a different way of being motivated to mid packers to front packers, and then the pros sometimes, for example, don't experience any kind of performance anxiety. They're more anxious about execution. So yeah, the mental skills is a fascinating field for me, and so broad as well.
Great, thank you so much for sharing that.